Hey guys, welcome to the channel. So I am Frank with Woodsman Adventures. I'm out here today at my campsite on my property, and I got something cool here to use. Now, I have reviewed a diesel heater before by this company, Hcalory. They sent this to me to review. I'm not getting paid a dime for it. They just sent the product, so I'll make a review video and try it out. But I know the other one I have, I absolutely love it. This one here is going to really impress you. This is a totally different beast, probably the best diesel heater out there. So if you like diesel heaters, this is the video to watch. Now, diesel heaters are good for heating, say, your tent when you're out camping, a van, an RV. You can heat your house with it. You could run the duct in here and heat your house with this thing. So this one is 8K. It has a large capacity fuel tank. It has a remote where you can use it wireless to turn it off and on, change the heat. It also has the temperature sensor in the remote. So a whole lot of cool features. The first thing we got to do here before using it on camping tonight is to put it all together. So I got all the parts set out here on the table. Got me some tools that I think I'll need. We're going to take this thing and just stick it together and try it out. Now this is an 8 kilowatt diesel heater with a huge fuel tank. So this ought to work really good, run for a long time if you're heating something. Now we will get into the specifics here in just a little bit, but first off, I want to thank Hcalory for sending this over for me to review. As I said, I have reviewed one other one from them. I will put a link in the description where you can check this out, but as far as them paying me anything, I don't get anything. I do make a little bit off of my Amazon store if you purchase it there. So let's go ahead and take this thing, put it together. I'll show you some of the features and we can try it out. Now, as far as right now, the temperature is in the 60s. Tonight it's going to get down to about 40, 39, 40. So it'll come in real handy at night. But here in Arizona, this time of year, during the day, it's usually pretty warm. So nighttime is where this thing is going to shine. Okay, so as far as putting this together, you can see the main unit right here. It's just pretty simple. So what we have here on this side is an inlet for our air intake. This is our DC power in. Over here is our outlet. This is where the hot air is going to come out. Right here we can see on this side we have a fuel gauge to show how much fuel we have in it. And it says 7.5 liters max. Right here we have the fuel cap. Inside the fuel cap is a strainer. You can remove it, put it back in. I definitely recommend using that just to keep contaminants out of your fuel. One cool thing I like about this, big, nice carrying handles. And it's not a lot of weight here, but it does have big, nice carrying handles to move it around with. And then, of course, we turn around to the back side here. This is our exhaust. Now, as far as exhaust, we have the exhaust pipe that will go on right here. And then we have a muffler that goes on the exhaust pipe. As far as our hot air, this is going to be our hot air outlet tube. And then we also have a vent you can put on the end of it. It goes on just like that. And then we have clamps right here to clamp it with. As far as power, we have a DC power cord here. The power cords, no matter whether you're using the AC or DC, will plug in right here, like so. And then we connect this to 12 to 24 volt DC, and we have a ground and a positive ring right there. Then as far as our AC, we have a AC to DC adapter. This is our 110 plug right here. This is our adapter, which plugs on right here. And then we have these 2 feet right here, which bolt on the bottom. You don't actually have to use these. It does come with some rubber feet right here that you can just take the screws, put them in right here, these 4 screws, and have the rubber feet. Or you can use this if you want to mount it somewhere where it's going to be mounted solid. This would be the way to go. So I am going to go ahead and stick these on here. And as I said, they just go right here, just like where the feet go, the same place. And then supplied, we have some screws here. We got some screws to mount this down with to a surface or board or whatever we're going to mount this to. We also have the screws that we mount the feet onto the bottom here with. So I am going to go ahead and stick these feet on right now. Sorry if the sun's too bright, but that's what we have here in Arizona. Is pretty much every day it's sunny year round. Now you could mount these feet where they stick out like this. If you wanted, you could actually mount the feet to where they go to the inside like that, depending on how you want to do it. Okay, we got our feet mounted on here. Now we can tip this back up like so. Okay, so right here on top by the gas cap, we have this door. If we open it up, it's got this piece that just comes out of there. And then in here we have our remotes. Basically, this one is a remote that's wired. This is a wireless remote right there. One cool thing about this is it is USB-C rechargeable. Very cool. This also has a carbon monoxide detector in it. So if you're in your vehicle, in your tent, wherever you're at, if your carbon monoxide level was to get too high, this will alert you, because right here is the sensor for that. And right here is the 5-volt input, as I was saying. We do have a place where we could hook a lanyard or something to tie it, to hang it with. And then we have the on-off button right here. Just flip it up and you can see it will show our temperature and our carbon monoxide if it gets too high. On here we have a minus temperature, plus temperature to go up and down. Our different settings here, we have the power button to turn the unit off and on. If we push this center button here, it will go from Celsius. So you can see it says 30 degrees Celsius. Push it again, we go to 86 degrees Fahrenheit. It also has the charge indicator right here on the side, which it's pretty much full charge, not all the way, but it's pretty close. We'll turn that back off for now. And then this is our remote that we can use if we mount this in a building. We can actually hang this on the wall or whatever we want. Put this up and you can see the cord comes out right here. If this cord, you can see how long it is right here. If this is not long enough, it also comes with an extension cable so you can run it further and to get it up on the wall where you want it. So on this we have pretty much the same buttons. We have an OK button, which means accept. We have the gear button, which is settings. We have up and down, and then we have the power button to turn it off and on. So you can use this thing and just leave this on here, but your temperature sensor is in this. So your temperature sensor is going to be in this or on this. So wherever these is at, that's where it's going to sense the temperature. It does have a nice door here you can see through in case you want to look at that with it on. It also has a nice place to stow the remote. I like that. It just locks down into place. Now this thing is water resistant, so you can take this thing out, have it in the rain, outside, the frost, the snow, and you'll be good to go. Okay, so one of the first things we want to do is put the exhaust on here. Here we have the exhaust pipe. On our exhaust pipe, we want to go ahead and put one of the clamps on right here. So once I have that on there, I want to go ahead and tighten that clamp down. This is a 7mm. I'm going to make sure the exhaust don't vibrate and come off. Don't want to over tighten and strip the clamp out. And then we want to take this muffler and put it on here. So we will put a clamp on here and then we'll put the muffler on. Now this muffler doesn't show a direction, but it does have a drain hole, which is right here. And what that is just in case you get a little condensation in here. If you have it mounted like this, then the condensation can drip out of the muffler. Okay, so we have our exhaust nice and solid on here. We can actually bend this tube around wherever we want it. Now on this side is our air outlet, so this is going to be our hot air outlet. We want to go ahead and put the hose on for that. We'll also put a clamp on there. And then we'll tighten it down just like we did the exhaust. And then we need to do the same thing with our vent right here, so we'll put a clamp on it. Stick the vent in here. Now this vent could actually be mounted to a wall. It has a cover that comes off like so. You have some screws. You could actually make like a 4-inch hole in the wall, and then you could just bolt this to the hole in the wall of your cabin or whatever you're putting it in. And there you go, you can just vent it through that. Might be easier to go ahead and run this one down with a Phillips screwdriver. Okay, so the next thing I want to go ahead and do before I go any further is go ahead and put my diesel in here. So I probably have about a gallon or a gallon and a half of diesel right here in this jug. Okay, we have our diesel in here. Okay guys, I did not mention, but we do have a Hcalory Toolbox user manual right here. So it has everything you need to know, how to put on all the parts right there, how to operate the remotes, and everything right here. We also have this instruction, which is like a quick operation instructions for the wireless temperature. So it shows the remote. That's a different style remote, but this is the one we have. It tells you the display panel, what everything means, and how to operate it. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is go ahead and plug this in. Now here I have a portable power station, and the sun is so bright I can't read the display. But we will go ahead and we want to plug this in right here. Run our cord around here, and then we'll plug in the power. Okay, so now we have diesel in it. We have power on, the portable power station connected. We're just going to try it first with this remote right here. We'll not use this one yet. We'll try it first with this one. So hopefully you can see that display. It shows 13 volt. So we hit the power button and hold it. It's going to come on. It's on H4. That's level 4 of the heat, but you can go on up to H10, and that is all the way up right there. So we should actually start coming on now, and let's lay this down. So if you can hear it, it says we are drawing 103 watts, and that this thing will run it for 9 hours at 103 watts. But this wattage will go down once this thing starts. That's just the startup. So right here, we're just blowing cold air. Now, it will take a little bit too, and the first time, I may have to restart it. We'll see. You can hear the pump. It has to actually pump the diesel through the system. Once that gets through the system, it will start faster the next time. That's what the ticking is. It's not very loud. We should be able to feel this exhaust when it starts heating up. It's not yet. And you can see our little remote here. It shows the same thing. We're on H10. I think I hear it burning now, and I smell it. You can see a little bit of smoke coming out here, very light smoke. Okay, now that smoke's gone. Just a little bit for the first part of the startup, and now it's running. It's putting out warm air right now. So I just wanted to show you guys, if you were to take this thing out in your vehicle to your camp, take it out of the box and set it up, this is what you're going to go through your first time setting it up and using it. Now it's speeding up, and if you can see on here, it is drawing 23 watts, and it says this power supply now will run it for 40 hours, so a long time. Now our air is getting really hot. Okay, so let's check the temperature coming out of here. You see that temperature is 192 degrees. As far as the exhaust temperature, 105, 230, 230 up toward the unit, 105 out on the muffler. And there, I turned it off, and it goes down into cool down mode, to where it's actually still running, but it's still blowing air to cool the unit down, so to be safe. You don't want to just shut it off while it's super hot. It blows air through it and circulates to cool the unit down. Okay, so one thing I want to let you know too is you can download the Hcalory app. Also, in case you're wondering what Hcalory stands for, H means heat, calorie is a unit of heat. Okay, we'll turn on the Hcalory app. Shows Hcalory right here, connected. Already connected, that's easy. It does say on the app too here that it is heating. So it's heating. You can hear it making a little noise there when it's starting up. You click on this to change the mode. We can go plus and minus, so we can be in our tent or our camper or whatever, use this if we didn't want to use a remote. Or if you lost your remote, you can still use this and change all of our settings inside here. We can do everything inside here that we can do on the remote pretty much. It shows our voltage, our altitude, 1230 meters, the temperature of the body, which is inside there, and then our ambient temperature outside, which is 77, it says right now. And it shows that we're heating. You can deactivate the device if you want to. We also have the mode change, but we can change our settings in here. If we click on settings, we can go to all of our units to switch to Fahrenheit to Celsius, which we're on Fahrenheit, and we want feet. Now it shows we're at 4,036 feet, which is really accurate. Timer settings, so if you want to do timers and make custom timers to turn this off and on, you can use it timers on it. But we are connected and running. Shows our ambient temperature out here is 76 degrees, 4,035 feet. Body temperature is 288, so it's warming up. The voltage is 13 volts. But on the display here, if we push the OK and the gear button for 2 seconds, it's going to turn us on the altitude mode. The little icon lit up there, it's hard to see, shows a little mountain. And now it's going to do the adjustment depending on your altitude for your fuel air mixture. So we'll go ahead and turn this back on now that I've done that. I can hear the fuel pump. That fuel pump is extremely quiet. This whole unit is really quiet. And what it does, it takes about 3 minutes for this thing to start up. Now we're starting up and heating. Okay, while that's starting up, let's take this remote and check out this carbon monoxide detector here on the bottom and see how it detects. Because you do not want this exhaust going into your tent or your house or your RV or whatever. So we'll just test it here. It's showing 97 parts per million now. 106. It will sound an alarm when it gets too high. So you can see it went up, and then after it started burning, the initial burn, it starts burning cleaner and it's going down. But if you was to pump this exhaust inside your tent or your vehicle or anything like that, then this would go extremely high. It will sound an alarm to let you know you have too much carbon monoxide and will actually shut this unit down for safety. There. See, it says E11, 588 parts per million, 765, it's still going up. And now it should start dropping, but it should also shut this unit off. And now you can hear it slowing down because it's shutting the unit off, which is just what we want. And it says off. You can see right there it says off, and it did shut it off. So it shut it off really fast, which is good. So it does have that safety feature, which is really awesome. Okay, so while this is cooling down because of the test I just did and it shut itself down, I'll tell you some of the specs. It does say that this thing, with the minimum setting, not max, which is 10, it'll go 62.5 hours. So if you set it to 1, it has a 7.5 liter fuel tank, which is 2 gallons. So pretty much the noise that you hear out of, the most noise you're going to hear is the fan blowing the air out the air duct. And it's supposed to be at 65 decibels is what that is. So what it does, it automatically adjusts the combustion depending on your altitude. And this thing will automatically adjust up to 18,000 feet, ensuring the full heat output you can get out of one of these. So that's really good that you can use it up in the mountains. You can use it down low. It's automatically going to adjust the combustion so it burns efficiently. It don't burn a lot of fuel, and it runs properly. And the way this new Hcalory Toolbox Max is designed, this will get a lot more fuel efficiency than most of these units. So this is a really good unit here. Okay, so while it's off here, I'll just go ahead and show you. This is our cord that we use for an extension. So if we pull this unit up out of here, our wired remote, we can push the button and unplug it. And then we're going to plug in the extension cable. Then we're going to plug the remote into the other end of the extension cable. And now we have the wired remote where it'll reach way out. So as you can see, this thing will reach quite a ways. You want to put it somewhere inside a building or your RV up on the wall, then you could do that right there with this extension cable. Okay, so another thing I did want to mention is this does have an auto start stop, which means instead of just powering it on, you go through level 1 through level 10 and it heats. We can actually have the auto start stop work by temperature. So basically, if we power this on, holding this down for 2 seconds, and once we do that, then if we push this button, we can actually turn it on to the set, and then we can actually just set a temperature. So if we want it to be 70 degrees, right there we have it set at 70 degrees. And then we don't have the levels of heat up and down. It automatically is going to run until it gets to 70, shut off, and then it automatically will start back up when it gets cold and warm it back up to 70. So auto start stop, which is really cool. And I just hope that you guys can see that display, because out here in the sun it is just terrible. And also I wanted to show you, it shows that temperature now. We can adjust it here on our remote the same way. So pretty much all your buttons that's on there is on here, and everything you see on there you can see on here. So it says the temperature outside out here is 66 degrees. So let's go ahead and crank this down now, and let's crank this thing down below 66. So in case you didn't know, I am in Arizona. This is my rain. We don't get much rain out here, so if it's going to rain, I'm going to have to make it rain. And they said that it's waterproof. You're going to have it outside of your tent or your RV. And if it's going to get wet, you're going to need to know, is this thing going to hold up in the rain? So here we go. We'll just put plenty of water. I mean, that's a pretty good pour down if it was raining that hard. If there's going to be a problem, it's going to be now. Make sure we get it from all sides. Front, back, everywhere, all that rain. There we go. And we'll see if it keeps working. We got a little bit more water in here. Let's go ahead and use it all. I mean, that's pour down rain. If it rains that hard, we need to see if it's going to mess it up or not. So there we go. You can see my jug is totally empty, and it's still working just fine. So there it is, guys, my ground in front of my tent, which was a bad place to set it, but it's all wet. But here in Arizona, it will dry fast. Probably before it gets dark, it'll dry up. You see the pipe steaming? We're all soaking wet, but I bet you it's going to work good, and the water won't actually get inside the unit or in where this wired remote is. The water won't get in there. Let's raise this lid and see. Bone dry in there. Totally bone dry. So it's going to be good. This is a pretty good setup here. So we should be good in the rain or snow or anything like that. So now I've got this thing heating up, and then we're going to do the test of the temperature and see about setting this thing on. It's 66 degrees out here right now this evening. So I'm going to set this thing to just down real low and see if it shuts off, and then I'll raise it back up after it shuts off and see if it comes back on automatically. Okay, so we are set on 80 right now, but the ambient temperature out here is 66. So let's just go ahead and lower this thing down. Evidently you can't just hold the button, you gotta push it each time to make it go down. We'll go all the way, see how far it goes down. Because you may not want to warm something up much. You may just want to heat a little bit. If it's in your shop or something, you may not. 32 is the lowest it goes, which is down to freezing. That's 32 Fahrenheit right now. So we'll wait. We'll see if this shuts off and see how long it takes. There it goes. I mean, it took that long just for me to get to here. I didn't even have a chance. I was going to turn on the timer, but it's already shutting down, because I had it set on 32, obviously. So let's let it have to go now to when it says off. You'll have to let it where it cools down completely. It's a safety feature. You want it to cool down inside, the temperature inside and everything. And then we can actually raise this temperature on here and see if it comes back on. Not by powering it on, because it's already on. So I'm going to take this thing, put this vent into my tent to where I can heat inside there. So now I have my tent where it's blowing hot air in there. If I was going to use this all the time in my tent, I think I would make me something to set there in front of that to zip the tent up on, because this tent don't have a way to actually put the heat in. But just for now, for a test, I'm doing it this way, and it should work fine. So this is the way you would want it. You want your heated air going inside. You want your unit sitting out away from your tent, and you want your exhaust out here facing away from the tent, so any gases will go away and the heat from that pipe. Just to be safe, you can actually take this, prop it up on something like a rock or something if you want, but out here nothing's going to burn because everything's just sand and dirt. But if you was in a place where it was going to burn, you'd want to get that off the ground. You don't want that pipe touching anything flammable. Okay guys, so I am in the tent, and I got my buddy in here, Cricket, We're in here, we're going to warm this thing up. Temperature outside is about 66 degrees. It'll cool down later tonight, but right now it's not that cool. So we're going to go ahead and turn this thing on now. The way I got this set on is the auto start stop. I do have this part in here, and this is what's going to read my temperature and tell it to when to turn off and on. We also have the sensor here for the carbon monoxide, just in case. This is really cool to have this remote. So we're going to turn it on here with the app. So you see my vent right here. We're going to go ahead and click it on heating. So we can turn this on, just blow wind. And Cricket's wondering what it's doing. But now it's just going to blow air in from outside. So if it got too hot in here, I could actually shut it off. And I could push the blow wind on my phone here and just blow wind in here. I'll do it that way. But we're going to turn off blow wind. We want to put it on heating. And activate the device. Yes. Okay, now I want to take this thing. I want to set it on 70. And you can see when I change this on here, it also changes it on the app. It takes it just a second, a little bit of delay, but then it changes it on the app. Okay, what this thing shows here is it's on standby. We're set to 70. You can see the A, that means auto start stop, and it's set to heating. So when it gets below 80, or when it gets below 70 in here, it should turn on. But the ambient temperature right now says 82 degrees Fahrenheit in here. The sun has been shining on this tent, and that's why it says 82 in here, so it's pretty warm. But this is really cool. I love this app, the remote, everything about it. Okay, guys, we're in the tent, and wow, this thing is blowing some hot, hot air. I mean, it's crazy. Got my remote here. We can see that, yeah. Shows I got it set on 73. Need to hook a light up here so I can see what I'm doing. There, now I got some light on in here. It looks like it's daylight out there because I got this thing set on super night mode, but it's actually turning dark. But man, that is some hot air. Holy cow. So let's check this air coming out of this thing. It'll burn you out of here. So the temperature right now, it's not warmed up yet. It's 156 and it ain't totally warmed up, but that's some hot air blowing out of that thing. This little old tent, it's gonna get hot real fast. So I'm probably gonna have to turn it down for sure. Let's turn this thing down, back down to 70. How about that? It is getting warm. I'm gonna hold it up here in front of holding this up in front of that hot air to cool that thing down. Yeah, it'll burn you out of here. Okay, so it just shut down. Yeah, it does work, but it got real hot real fast. It went up above the temperature, so it went up to 75 degrees to get there. That is crazy how fast this thing heats this little old tent. So now it's going back into standby mode, and it'll wait till the temperature drops again, come back on, but pretty darn cool. So we'll just wait, see how it keeps it warm at night, see what it is in the morning. I can tell you one thing, you're not going to freeze to death with one of them. You're going to stay warm. It'd work a lot better in a much larger tent than this. This is a pretty small tent, just a two-person tent here. So, like I said, if this was a smaller tent, it'd work a lot better. It just heats this one up so quick. And just the temperature time it took to that thing shut off and the air cooling down, it's 80 degrees in here. So it raises real fast, and then when it shuts off, it takes it a while to cool down to quit blowing the hot air. So yeah, it's 80 degrees in here right now, and that got there quick. Okay guys, good morning. It is officially 7 o'clock in the morning, looks like. It's warm in here. This thing is actually just kicked back on. It's 61 degrees in here now, but it feels warmer than 61 because that air is blowing right on you, so it's actually pretty hot. Outside, hopefully you can see this right here, 32 degrees. outside temperature. So yeah, actually it's 7:15, but 32 degrees inside, 61. So we are definitely cold. So I'm gonna go outside here in just a minute. I'm gonna go fix me some coffee. But I can tell you one thing, in this little tent, that is probably too much. It just, for a bigger tent, this tent is tiny. I should have set up my big tent, but it will just run you out of here when it kicks on. It gets so hot. So you just have to run it just for little bits at a time, and it does fine. Turn it down low. You don't need it up high. A big tent, shop building, RV, or even your house, this thing would heat. It's so crazy good. So we're gonna go outside, check it out. It worked great all night. After the water test and everything, the rain, it didn't affect a thing, obviously, because it's still working great. So as far as the fuel burning, it was at 3.5 liters. Now it shows as a 3.2 liter. But I think that's because it just don't run enough in here. And if you left it on heat all the time and burn it for all night long, it would probably burn more. But it don't ever run to heat this little tent. It don't have to. This little thing, so tiny, it just kicks on. And as soon as it warms up, the tent's already warm. So you just have to shut it right back off. So yeah, it ain't gonna burn nothing in a little tent like this. A bigger tent or your RV or shop or something. I want to actually use this in my shop up here for my motorcycles when I'm out there working. I think it'd be great for that. But it might burn a little more fuel, but for the little tent, it don't do nothing. It's actually getting too hot in here. So I'm gonna have to shut this thing back off. I got it turning off now. But it don't burn enough fuel for anything. So, oh, that's gonna be better. Just turn that thing off. Just getting way too hot in here. So there you guys go. Super cool. Okay guys, so what a great little unit. This thing was great. It heats that tent so fast. I have a larger tent and I should have actually used a larger tent, but I wanted to try it on this one because if I load this up for myself, that's just a 2-person tent and that's what I like for just myself. But to throw this thing in your vehicle along with your tent and your chair and your cooler and stuff, it don't take up a lot of room. It heats extremely well. If you got down in the super cold weather, this thing will heat a tent like it ain't nothing. It's cool that it comes with the wired remote right here. It comes with the wireless remote, the carbon monoxide sensor on here that lets you know that you're in danger. That's really cool. But you won't have that problem as long as this is what you duct inside your tent, your RV or whatever. Just duct this in here. Make sure your exhaust is aimed clear away from your tent or your RV, whatever you're putting this in, and you'll be good to go. But this is an awesome unit. This is the Hcalory TB Max, which TB stands for Toolbox. I really like this unit. You can see that just even putting water on it doesn't matter. So you can set this outside and run it. That's the best way. You could actually use this thing inside if you put the exhaust outside, say of a garage or a house or something. You've got to have the exhaust going outside and this heat will blow inside. But the best way for most situations is just set this outside, even if you put a little cover over it. And it's going to be great for heating pretty much anything. I really dig this thing. This is definitely, in my opinion, of all of them I've seen, this is the best unit out there right now. And what I will do is below I'll post a link to Amazon where you can check this out. Also, there's going to be a 15% off discount code for right now. I don't know how long that discount will last, but the code is below. So when you go to the checkout, you put in that code and you're going to save 15% off this unit. This is a fabulous unit. As I said, in my opinion, this is the best on the market right now. So thank you all for watching Woodsman Adventures. Click that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and you'll be notified when I put out a new video. And we'll catch you all on the next adventure. Right on.